So I'll be showing you some basic statistical functions in R. So the first one we'll be doing is the mean, and then we'll create an object that has a mini data set. And these are just random numbers I'm making up. Okay, so the mean of a variable or object can be pretty straightforward when finding it inside R, and that's through the function mean. And you have to pass on the parameter of the variable within the mean function. So if you print it out so we can see it, because if you just do mean and then x, your variable, then it'll calculate it, but it won't show you. So we're going to print it out. And inside the console, it tells us that it's in the combined console, it'll print it out and tell us the mean of the combined object x is 54.25. And also be careful when naming your objects and variables. R can have the same identifier represent both a function name and its result. So think variables, data types, labels, modules. I'll show you what I mean. So let's do mean. This is an object. It's going to contain 2 times 3. And then you see that it let me make an object called mean, but then we also have the mean function. Yep. And let's see. I didn't test it out, but let's see if this works. Okay, so the mean object with the mean function. Oh, wait, it did work, which is so confusing. So that's why I recommend you to avoid calling on the wrong thing. I advise against naming your variables the same as these functions. And then the same thing with standard deviation. The function is just the abbreviation of SD and then the parameter x. If we pass it along to it, yep, it'll tell us that the standard deviation is 52.2 and some change. And for the next example, we're going to have to create a data frame to see the linear model of the data set. So we're going to look at data frames. We're also going to look at linear models and summary. Okay, so we're going to name this one DF. So DF just stands for data frame. And data frames are displayed in a table format. They can have different types of data inside it, but each column should have the same type of data. And you can call in the function using data.frame, and our data is going to contain an x and a y object. So inside parentheses, the data frame is going to contain an x object, and then we're going to create this object. We're going to create this object using the C function, and it's going to be the same data type. Data set is here. So I'm going to just copy it over, save some time. Okay, and then make sure to separate your x and y object with a comma here. And then I'm just going to start a new line, just so that it'll make it much cleaner. So it's going to be the y. There we go. I'm going to try to align it. Yep. We're going to do the same thing with y. Okay. Combine it, and then these are random numbers again. Okay. And then I'm going to close this function. Now that we have our data frame, we're going to have to put our data frame into an object, since it's just that, it's just data, and it doesn't have a container but rather a frame at the moment. So how we're going to do that is we're going to first create an object to put the data frame in. Now I'm just going to name mine model, point an arrow to it, and then we're going to do linear model, and then we're going to create a linear model with x and y, and we're going to use a squiggly line. If you can't find yours on your keyboard, it's most likely above the left tab key on your keyboard. At least that's where mine is located. Y and X, and then the data source is going to be our DF, or data frame, that we just created. Then to see a summary of our model, we can call in the summary function and then pass along our model into it. So summary, I want to create a new line. So summary, and then we'll pass along model into it. Okay. And then down here in the console, you'll see that it gave us some information and statistics about the data, kind of in a table format, but without the lines. And it's a quick and easy way to get things like standard deviation, residuals, R-squared, just for linear data. And oh, if you didn't know, R-squared is the coefficient of determination, and it's the percentage of variation explained by the independent variable. And it always lies between 0 and 1, with a value of 0 indicating like no relationship between the two data sets, which are ours is x and y, and a value near 1, it indicates the model is pretty solid. So the summary function is very useful in many ways, but the only thing is it doesn't give us the y-intercept or slope. So if you're somehow in need of that, then you can just call in the coefficient function and feed the model object into it. And then we're going to name ours, we're first going to name this subsection. So it's going to be coefficients, and we're also going to look at slope. An object called coefficients, which is a prime example of what I was talking about earlier, where you can name objects and variables the same name as functions, because we're going to be using the coefficients function, and we're going to feed our model into it, our model object. Okay, and then from here we can extract the slope from there by feeding it x into the coefficient function. So first we're going to create an object to store slope in, and then use the coefficients function, and then feed it x. But to access x data from the data frame, we're going to have to use the double square brackets. So we're going to use 2 double square brackets, and then we're going to case x with double quotes. So if we print out our slope, well, first let's run this, and then let's print it out. If we print out slope, then you can see that our model is sloping downwards with the negative slope. You can also do the same thing for the y-intercept, except encase intercept with parentheses. So if we create a variable called y-intercept, and we use the coefficients function, and then we use again the double square brackets, and then double quotes, and then this time we're going to case intercept with parentheses. Okay. Oh, here it is. And then we're going to print out y-intercept so we can see it. And here we can see that the y-intercept is a little under 54. Okay, and let me know you've gone this far by screenshotting the current outputs you have in your console panel and then paste it into your answer sheet.